Hey there, you beautiful badass. Welcome to the Keri Croft Show. I'm your host, Keri Croft, delivering you stories that get you pumped up and feeling like the unstoppable savage that you are. So grab your coffee, put on your game face, and let's do this thing, baby. So how many people ask you if it's really worth it to get a haircut by Mia Santiago?
Honestly, a lot. And honestly, it is.
I mean, she is a celebrity hairstylist in Columbus, Ohio. That's all you really need to know.
She doesn't miss, and now she has her own salon, Headspace. It is truly something this city has never seen.
Girl, I did one scalp treatment, and I would let Jake put his hands on my head anytime he wanted.
No, same. It's right in Upper Arlington where Mia cuts and styles, and Jake manages a full scalp spa, which is like a facial for your scalp and a massage for all of the stress and tension we hold in our head and neck.
I legit felt like I was on something after I got my first treatment, and my hair looks so much healthier now that all the buildup and dead skin are gone. I mean, I do love massages, but honestly, this might be even better. Plus, it has so many proven benefits for my hair health.
Truly believe you get what you pay for, and Mia and Jake are the dream team.
Use code Keri for 20% off your first visit with Miss Mia Santiago. Kate Borges. Rhymes with gorgeous because, I mean, look at you. Welcome to the Keri Croft Show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited.
Me too.
I mean, I feel like I have Blondie here with your shirt.
Pretty much.
You're a vulture, not a hummingbird.
For sure.
Same.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
It's good to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah. And good to see you out of the garage.
Yes, absolutely.
We're fully clothed, not sweating.
You know, I do like you not clothed though. I mean, you look real cute in your little spandex when you're in the ice plunge and the sauna. Quick tee up to how we met.
Yeah.
You were following the show and you DM'd me. You slid in my DMs like a little bitch kitty. And you were like, hey, you, come to my garage. I'm like, ooh, this sounds kind of serial killer-esque. I'm in. I was like, who is this? You know, here's the way to my heart, is to randomly DM me and tell me you have some sort of business in your garage. And I'm like, okay, get your calendar out. That's exactly what happened. The rest is history.
It is. It is.
And may I just tee up the massage garage real quick for anyone who has not experienced this little nook niche diamond in the rough. It is in a neighborhood. So if you follow Google Maps, you're like, well, Google Maps, where are you taking me? Google Maps will be taking you to a home. And Kate has this oasis in her backyard. It is a garage. The garage lifts up in the back as well. It's a big backyard with all these eccentric mirrors and decor and all this shit. But then she also has this incredible bed that heats up and vibrates to the music she sets. And if that hasn't sold you yet, she also has people come to her from your past, and she can also read your energy. Is that somewhat accurate, right?
Yeah.
Fair assessment.
Yeah. It's been a minute since you've been in. We had a mural painted on the whole first floor of the house. I got a giant skeleton hidden in the backyard that's full of like vines and flowers. She's my like garden fairy. Yeah, the flowers right now, of course, are beautiful because summer flowers are still here, and then the fall flowers are starting to come too. So right now it's just a jungle of greatness.
Well, I give a high rec for the massage garage, and I will be back.
Excellent.
Because the trifecta of your massage is amazing. I'm a massage snob.
Oh.
But when you have my hips up on that bed and you were basically like getting in there, I'm like, okay, she's not just a pretty face. She can get in there, which that is my number one. I mean, you have to like be able to get in, like get hard on the body.
Yeah.
And then the atmosphere and the bed, but the sauna and the cold plunge. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Right. I don't really know what you could ask for.
I mean, maybe a shot of tequila, but that's probably not on brand for the health and wellness.
Not really, but I do use that analogy a lot when people are trying to get into the ice plunge. I'm like, do you do a shot of tequila because it tastes great going down or feels great going down? You like what it does afterwards. Same thing. Just get in.
Yeah. So there's a lot we could talk about.
Yes.
You're a very large onion with lots of layers, lots of lovely layers. But I think we're going to go straight today into the fact that you have your hubs, Matt, is in federal prison.
He sure is. His sentence was 5 years.
He'll be out in May.
He's been gone for 15 months.
He's getting out early.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
There's a whole like mathematical equation and a law about like this, you know, you hear in the movies like time off for good behavior.
Yeah.
It's like a thing that's like a law and like a mathematical equation, and depending on what you're doing while you're in there, how you can whittle away at that time.
Okay, so high level, you guys are married. He's like something in the Republican Party. Your life is humming along as a just normal life in Bexley. When did you first hear like, hey babe, we got a problem here?
When the FBI knocked on the door at 6 o'clock in the morning. And at that point, my mother, who was in late stages of Alzheimer's, lived with us, and I thought maybe she had gotten out. So like getting out of bed, go down, and it's the FBI at the door. And there's like a guy with the FBI jacket with, it seems like swarms of people behind him, and a whole barrack or a whole like parade of FBI vehicles and people in the backyard, and just like swarmed with FBI.
Did you have any sort of inkling prior to this that there was, did he?
No.
So he was completely blindsided by that knock on the door.
Yes. Completely blindsided.
And so what, did they take him then?
Yeah. Right then.
And he had no clue why?
Nope. And they wouldn't tell us.
In a nutshell, he went to prison for racketeering?
Yep.
So give me like the high level, just to explain to someone who doesn't even understand, like what was his job, and then he went to jail for what, and what you think happened.
So we are in the middle of an appeal process. So high level here.
Yeah.
That morning, 5 people were arrested or indicted by the FBI and taken in, all at the same time. And to this day, 2 of the people have pled guilty. 1 person committed suicide, and then my husband and 1 other person were convicted of conspiracy to commit racketeering. Realistically, in the trial, I mean, we went to a full federal trial. The jury did not have to say what laws Matt broke that put him in this conspiracy, so we don't know. What the indictment alleges, and in some point is true, is Matt gave an employee of a referendum campaign money. A referendum is when people are getting signatures to get an issue on the ballot. A friend of his working on that and asked Matt for money for a personal reason that he needed money, and which had happened time and time again. And so Matt helped him, and then they were saying that that was bribery.
Interesting.
And my husband was not never was an elected official. He's just a person like you and like me. And this other person was not an elected official, just a person. You and I can give money to whoever we want, and we can ask them whatever we want. That's not breaking the law. That's our contention. Nuts and bolts, that's what's in the paperwork. Also, when my husband was chairman, he was chairman of the Ohio Republican Party and didn't support Donald Trump. That's what makes sense. Donald Trump, I was standing next to Matt when Matt was on the phone with him, and he was screaming at him, "You will never ever be able to be dog catcher when I'm through with you." I mean...
Donald Trump was saying that?
Yeah. I mean, we're not delusional when we're like, this is because of Donald Trump. More than one conversation of him coming out of his face at Matt over the phone. Matt asked him not to run. When the grab him in the pussy tapes happened, Matt asked him to step down, that he didn't see how the Republican Party rallied around this. I mean, right? I hope not. As, of course, I hate him with the white hot heat of 1,000 suns. And one of his tenets is that he will blow up the Department of Justice and the Bureau of Prisons, and anyone at a camp will be sent home. So with a husband in prison and someone saying, I'm going to send your husband home, there again, will he really? There again, we already feel like he's victimized us. Will he make an exception and keep Matt there? And on the other side of that, our youngest child is neurodiverse and has gone through identity changes. And how would I vote against his future and safety in the world? I mean, as a mother, do I vote for my child to be safe in the world, or do I vote for my husband home from prison? Guess what? You vote for your child, because my husband's a fucking an adult, can do what he needs to do to get through, and we will.
So literally then, you say he's getting out in May, but you're not, until you see him out, you're like, okay, anything can happen because you don't trust anything at this point.
100%.
So you have also mentioned that this was kind of a blessing in disguise for you and your journey into the massage garage.
Yep.
So how did that take place?
I mean, we go to bed at night, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, a country club tennis player, not even very good, obsessive about things that don't matter, and my husband has his career. By bedtime the next day, his career's over, with no expectation of whenever he would be able to work again or be a part, like not knowing what is going to happen. And that knowing has gone on now for 4 years. I mean, it's been a long time. It's not like something that's a finite, this happens and the next day you start rebuilding. It's happened, and his whole life has just been put on hold.
Yeah.
Till this day. I mean, until he comes out and comes home and can start rebuilding. So the focus of the family changed. Somebody else needed to put it on her back and charge forward, and that's what I did. And, being a massage therapist was something that I've always loved to do. I've always felt good while I'm doing it. I've always felt like I have a gift in that area, and I can help people one-on-one, one person at a time. And I just started doing that. And I reached out to people and sat there on the couch on Sunday afternoon making a infographic about massages, come on over, and sending it to everyone in my address book. Like, oh God, what are they gonna think? Oh God, are they like laughing at me on the other side? What is this? And it doesn't fucking matter. I gotta take care of my family. So guess what? Send. And it just started growing and growing. And that obsessive mind of mine started growing and growing with it, and adding the warming table to the bed, and adding the vibrating to the bed, and adding mirrors to the backyard, and adding flowers, and more bird feeders for birds, and essential oils, and oracle cards, and hanging wall, and sound bowls, and then ice plunge, and then ice plunge, and then sauna.
Experience.
Yeah.
So you probably really figured out who your friends were. That had to be a really tough pill to swallow. How did people respond?
So kind of two different camps. There was Matt's world, and there were many people that were wonderful, and there were a lot of people that were just gone. And there were a few people that were horrible. My world pretty much stayed the same. My world, people rallied around me. They knew us, and people were accepting, and the amount of kindness that came out of the woodwork from corners we never would have expected. I mean, unbelievable, just absolutely unbelievable. And that's like one of the hugest gifts. I've had people say, well, those people were never your friends anyway. Yeah, they were. They were really good friends. And the nature of them being in the same industry, they were scared. I mean, they were scared. They were protecting their own family. They did what they needed to do. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's just what happens.
Yeah.
And the goodness and the support and the love that has come from other places is like by far and away blows the rest of it out of the water.
I always say like everybody has a badass inside, and sometimes it's lying dormant. When you're living your life in Bexley and you're wearing your tennis skirt and your biggest problem is like, is it a chai tea latte today or is it a mocha frappa whatever? Not that you didn't have the day-to-day stuff, but when life comes knocking in ways that are extraordinary, you're like, wait, I don't know anyone in prison, let alone my husband, let alone my whole life just blew up. And, you're like Phoenix rising from the ashes, right? And I can only imagine at first with the mess and the panic and the overwhelm. But then you start to hear that whisper of that badass. It's like, hey, Kate, guess what? You're being called. Are you going to answer?
The hero's journey.
Knock. Yeah. And but this is such a great, because on the, you have this very cheerful, kind, girl next door, quirky thing about you. But think about this. This is the ultimate story of badassery and a woman, being placed in a situation that just seemed so dark on so many levels, but yet you persist. Mm-hmm. And yet you climb each rung, no matter how hard every day. And look at you now. It's like, would you ever wish that upon in a family? No. But what's crazy is look at you now.
I would wish the transformation on everyone. Yeah. To be able to know what they have capable inside of them. Yeah. The comfort crisis. It's real. And forget that.
There's so many great, beautiful branches that come off your story, but the real, I think, thick of it right here for people is whatever dark that life places at your door, there's something that can be transformative. It's not going to be that day, not going to be the day after. It's going to be a journey.
It's going to be a journey.
But if you listen.
Mm-hmm. And put your head down, Matt says, how do you eat an elephant? Just one bite at a time.
Yeah.
How are we going to get through this? Just one bite at a time. One phone call to one email to the next phone call to the next day. Yeah.
And this has been oddly, and here I go. Here it comes. Here comes the sick, twisted, weird brain of mine. I don't know why you're like this, but you are. It's like oddly romantic. This is my take. It's like there's this buildup and your husband's in prison and you're this supportive, loving wife, and it's brought your relationship, and you can't be together physically. So it's like this buildup. Mm-hmm. And, on your intake form, I said, what is your favorite music? And you said prison songs. So explain that.
So, like, on the sentencing day, we left Columbus, Matt and I, in a car and drove to Cincinnati for sentencing. We fully believed we would be coming home in the car together, that we would find out that day what his sentence is. In a certain amount of time, he would self-report. We'd say, okay, in 2 months, you're going to go to this place. And in that time, we file an appeal. He stays home during the appeal process. 100% believed that. We're sitting in the courtroom, sentencing day, and the marshals walk in. And they say, remand. And the marshals come over, and he takes off his tie. He leaves his wedding ring, his sport coat. They handcuff him. He can blow me a kiss, and he walks out. The next time I talked to him, he's in a prison in Butler County, and I said, give me a song. Give me a song to get me through this. And the Rolling Stones, Till the Next Time We Say Goodbye, was the song. But that was the first song. And that was my #1 song played in 2023, starting in June. Probably the only time ever that song was a #1 by anyone. And it just, when he gives me a song, I know I'm listening to it and he's listening to it and we're listening to it together. So it started, I have a Spotify playlist and he sends me songs and we add them. And then it became, okay, every Saturday morning, my email every Saturday morning is my song for the week. And that song for the week inspires me, inspires him. It's our link for the week. I put it in Spotify, let Spotify create radio for it. This past week, it was Give a Little Bit by Supertramp. And I listened to it on repeat on my way over here. I mean, generally, I play the song on repeat all week. And it says we're finding our way back home. Give a little bit. We're finding our way back home. And he'll be home.
And you guys are going to have some serious hot sex. Like, let's just get to it. Because you guys, I mean, like, this is also, like, it's very, like, it reminds me of a teenage romance of, like, when you can't be with your, like, oh, my parents, he's, like, being held somewhere. And it's, like, the anticipation of all of this. I mean, you guys are, like...
Everyone says
there's a very
that.
romantic element to this.
And he's like, it's so funny. Everyone out there is like, yeah, when you get to have sex. And he's like, everyone here is, ooh, what food you going to eat?
For sure. We're going to have him in here eventually. That's so great, because I also am super tied to music, and that reminds me too of like when I had a boyfriend. Like I think of these songs that we would like play, and that would just be such a sensual, intimate thing, lyrics, and this reminds me of you. That is so alluring.
And he writes this whole beautiful email that goes with it. That it's exactly why he's giving me song that week.
Let's read the one that you sent me, can we?
Sure. That was this morning. I talked to him on the phone this morning at 6. He calls every morning at 6.
So you texted this to him. I'm gonna have you read it.
And I talked to him at 6, and I told him I was coming here. And my question for him, I was like, "Do I make you feel loved?" And he was like, "Why would you even say that? Of course you do." I'm like, "I just think that's one of my strengths, is leading with my heart. And do I make you feel loved?" And then at 6:14, he wrote me this email. "I was about to sit down and write that no one in this place feels more loved than I do. But that wouldn't quite be fair. No one in the world feels more loved than I do. No need to limit it to this place and these freaks. I know I am loved, and I feel it every day. I hope I can do a better job of expressing that to you. There's simply no way I could get through this without your big love. And it feels like it gets bigger all the time. Thank you for that gift. You are a gift. We can both let the world know that, but you need to know that first. I love you. Have a wonderful day. We'll call later." Bunny, that's my nickname for him. But that's the sentence there of "you are a gift. We can both let the world know that, but you need to know that first." All of us need to believe that every day with everything we do. That's the lesson. Why did he have to go to prison for us to know that lesson? Mm-hmm. And he did. He sacrificed his life so I can be who I am right now and be better for the world. And that's just huge.
Yeah.
How lucky are we? In this horrible situation, how lucky are we?
Yeah. And you've got his ring around your neck.
Yeah.
It's so good. It really is. You guys are. You know what? I've decided I'm going to go home tonight and tell my husband, I want a haiku. Right now, I want you to write me a haiku, damn it. Jesus. God, that's amazing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, so you have 3 kids, names and ages.
Lucas, 13, middle school, lives at home. Spencer, 26, lives in like Black Lickish area, engaged. And Drew, 28, lives in Atlanta. Wow. Maybe soon to be engaged.
Okay, so is Lucas the one who's neurodivergent?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So when you said identity change.
Yeah.
Okay, so was Lucas born a girl?
Yes.
Okay, and so clearly your thoughts are like they should be able to live and be whoever they want to be, right? What are your thoughts though on this, like actually making changes to, like actual changes? How old do you think that it's okay to do that? Because there's such controversy around that.
Right. Initially, Luke diagnosed as autistic. So he has my hyper-focused brain. And when he's into something, he gets really into it. And he has researched this enough to know enough stories of he's still young, he's still forming. So he kind of even put his own governance on 21's the age for him. He's decided 21's the age. That being said, he also read that raw onions increases your testosterone level. So he's kind of doing it at home, eat a lot of raw onions.
Okay.
Great.
Right, but for you, because I have such empathy for parents who are really going through this with kids who are like, I want to change my sex, but I really want to change my sex, like from an operation perspective. So do you just kind of let him, because if he says 21, cool, you're an adult. Like you were old enough to make those decisions. But what if he was like saying it now? What would your guidance be? And what do you tell parents?
Every case is its own individual case. And I think a parent has to know their kid, and they have to work together to make that decision. Are we always like the best parents that we need to be when the kids need us? No. But that's where the exploration needs to happen. That's where like both of you operating from your solar plexus chakra, the brutally honest truth. I don't care if you don't want them to be struggling with this question, you have to get in there and get to the bottom of the answer and answer it truthfully for both people. It's so much of this social construct around it that's swaying people in their decision and what's it going to look like. And that needs to be shed away. And that's a really hard thing to say and a really even harder thing to do. But that's where it needs to come.
Yeah.
Like autism is everyone can accept that autism is a spectrum, right? And it looks different in 100 different ways. All of these things are spectrum. You know, in autism, going through an gender identity change during puberty is very common, especially for girls, because they've spent the first part of their life masking. And so approaching it from a brain that's going through that kind of change is different than a different brain. And that's the parent's responsibility to know with their child, and that's the government's responsibility to butt out.
Yeah.
Is my take on that.
Now, Lucas, did you know this from a very, very young age?
He was always very into theater, and he took on a new role and did that a number of times. And so for quite a while, we were like, yeah, it's just a phase. Now he's very like, he'll tell you, you said it, or it's not just a phase. It's been 3 years and 2 months. And I'm like, okay, he's a character. This morning I get dressed, I go in, I'm like, how do I look? And he goes, like a harlot.
Stop it.
I'm like, what? I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like, you can't even see my wrists. And he's like,
Well, you do look like a little bitch kitty. I think that's what he meant. You look like a little minx.
I think he must have just learned the word harlot. And so yeah.
So how is he in school? Or do people give him a hard time? Are they accepting? Is it a mix?
In his hyper-focusedness, he, of course, is drawn to the people who are like him, and they're very accepting. There's people that aren't. He also is not trying to convince them they should be, which that is a blessing in itself. I mean, he can be like, yeah, that group's not into me. and isn't that awesome? And he's like, I wouldn't fit in over there. No, he's like, they're not into what I'm into. I'm going to keep going.
So there's like an innate self-confidence in there.
Mm-hmm. He said, I took him to the Weezer concert, and we're on the way, and he goes, I'm a little nervous. I'm kind of a micro celebrity, and people might want my autograph. I'm like, he's like, I've got 2,000 followers on TikTok. They love me.
See, that's that. You want that any day over the opposite. Ready to elevate your self-care game? Boss Gal Beauty Bar is a modern med spa offering everything from cosmetic injectables, lasers and microneedling to medical-grade facials and skincare. Conveniently located in Clintonville, Grandview, Powell, and Easton, making self-care a priority has never been easier. Use code CROFT for $25 off your first visit. We all know the age-old joke, why did the chicken cross the road? Well, in this day and age, cool chicks cross the road to make their way to SZN, a groovy little boutique in downtown Powell, Ohio. Located at 37 South Liberty Street, SZN offers curated apparel, accessories, and gifts from purpose-driven brands. Stop in and listen to Tara's story and the stories of the brands sold within the shop. Ask her why a hen is Zen, and receive four-legged greetings from Wally, the small and mighty shop dog. At SZN, your purchase has a bigger purpose. Mention the awesomeness that is the Keri Croft Show and receive 20% off your total purchase.
Right.
So let's move into you being sort of a clairvoyant. Do you is anyone in this room like looking to find me? Because I'm a believer in this.
I am truly a believer in it, and it has opened it up in many new ways. And I'm not hugely confident in how this is evolving. And I've kind of packaged it up into a way of reading people's chakras as guides. And so it's kind of a little out of my wheelhouse to be like, yeah, there's Joey.
You never know. Just, hey, who's over there on the couch? I mean, I'd be into that. So do you get any feels of energy like in these environments too? Or is it just when someone's on your table?
It's in getting ready for this morning, it was like, okay, Kate, you need to be yourself. Like, okay, right, how easy is that? Not fucking easy. Not easy when I'm out of my garage and out of my plants and out of my bird zen sanctuary that keeps me surrounded with the energy when people walk into my space, you can see them get out of their car and walk up their driveway, and their shoulders come down, and generally you can smell the incense, and then their face relaxes, and they come through, and their energy has shifted. The nature, just the experience there, that truly happens. And I didn't even realize it till I started venturing out more and more that, yeah, the energy outside of there is different. So it has to be something that I'm mindful and purposely. I've got crystals in my pockets. I put essential oils on my feet. I was doing grounding when I came in. An ice truck drove in front of me when I parked. I'm like, it's meant to be. It's a sign. It's a sign. So I have to work on it, but I'm getting better at it.
Are you high anxiety normally?
Anxiety in an excitement way, not in an anxiety in a paralyzed way. Because when I started ice plunging, I was anxiety in a paralyzed way, on Xanax to try to control it, unable to breathe, like not healthy. I have anxiety in a good way when there's fun shit to do. Yeah.
You're excited about life.
Yeah.
And you just said that the day October, you're going to use Halloween. You've done ice plunge every single day for the last year.
Yeah. Yep.
And the physical response to that has been significantly positive.
100%.
So details.
Physically, emotionally. I don't know how I would have made it through this without it. This being living life with my husband gone, in all aspects of that. There's in ice plunging, there's like the mechanical benefits, the chemical benefits, and the psychological benefits. And they all work together. My my ice plunge practice goes with my sauna practice of oil pulling face, dry brushing your body, sweating till you can't take it, go in the ice, and then go back. Not every day can I do all of that, because like days I go to visit Matt, I have to leave at like 4:50 in the morning, and I have to have my hair done. So like I have to get up early and plunge at like 4 and then get ready and then go. So I cut it short those days. But the number one thing that I want people to open their minds to and try to see the value of getting in an ice plunge is the best way for you to get to know you right now in this spot. You cannot fight that ice. It will win. You just have to be there with it. And that ability to relax and breathe and be yourself in this wildly uncomfortable situation grows you in ways you never knew was possible. You are a badass motherfucker the rest of the day.
You just talked me right back into it, you little bitch. I'll be back in that deep freeze tomorrow. Who do I think I am with just this sauna? It's one half of the equation.
Yes.
It's true.
It is true. The body doesn't read hot or cold. The body reads on or off. The body reads that sauna and the ice plunge the same. It's our emotion. It's our anticipation that makes one, ugh, and the other one, So we have the ability to rewrite that. I'm still not at the ability where I have rewritten that cold is not cold. That ice plunge is cold. But it's okay.
So what's Matt going to do when he gets home and I'm sure you've shown him video and photos of the backyard. Is he going to be like an ice plunging? You're going to be like the ice plunging couple?
He ice plunged before he left.
Oh, really?
And has mentally taken himself there a number of times that he's needed to survive where he's at. And he'll be all in. He hasn't been in the new sauna, and he's going to love that.
Because what's he going to do for his career? I wonder. It's like a wide open.
Yeah.
I think he needs to leverage the fact that he was in prison. Seriously.
I mean,
whether he can be a speaker or you just got to.
This isn't the first time I'm saying this. It's like the most intensive internship in the world.
Yeah.
The things he's learned in the past 15 months and in the next journey. It's like he has learned. Yes.
He's got an edge now too, which will also be super hot for you. So there I go. Keep it classy. He's got some good connections too though, right?
Can I tell one story?
Yes, please.
Okay, might be long and but it comes full circle, okay? So he's at work and one of his coworkers is explaining that if you see 12 and 11 spray painted places, that's the sign that the Latin kings are in that area for the 12th and 11th letter of the alphabet. And Matt says, well, that's my wife's birthday. And he says, well, then she's an honorary member. I get that news. I'm like, well, then what's my nickname? Matt goes back. My nickname, Queen Diamond. Queen Diamond of the Latin Kings.
Okay.
Right here in the house, right? Keeping it gutter to the streets in Bexley. So the next time I go to visit, so here's the other thing. I'm not going to cry. I visit Matt once a month. When you go to visit, you get to hug once when you get there and once when you leave. There's a literal box taped on the floor. You stand in the hug box and they watch you hug. So it's the year 2024. We knew we got to get through 2024 and then we'll figure out the next step. So the year of 24 hugs, 12 visits, 24 hugs. Then we find out if you get your picture taken while you're there, you get to hold hands in line and you get to hug during the photos. So I'm like, we're getting our picture taken every fucking time. I mean, that's an extra 12 hugs a year. Of course you would do that, right? So the next time I go visit, we're standing in line. Oh, and the visitation line situation, it's awful. And behind me are other visitors who I've seen on and off. And there's two women behind me and they're kind of coming at me. And they're kind of like, why would you get your picture taken? Who wants that? Like they're chattering behind me because place in line is big, right? And I'm like, don't they know it's a motherfucking Latin king they're talking about? Queen Diamond right here. And I'm standing and I'm like trying to go to that ice plunge I was in this morning. I bet none of these fuckers ice plunged. And I'm like, who the hell am I? And I'm looking up and there's barbed wire and there's like the facility. And I am like, I'm supposed to be calling balls out on a tennis court at a country club, not threatening people with my Latin kingness. And I'm like, this is 100% what we feared was the worst case scenario the day the FBI knocked on the door. And here we are. And we're okay. And we're going to be better for this. So yeah.
Unbelievable. That's amazing. I'm not going to fuck with you in a dark alley.
True.
So then the conjugal visit thing is not a real thing?
Not anywhere we've heard of. No. I can't even imagine.
I mean, I'm sure if you got the opportunity, you'd be like, all right, that'd be kind of, an interesting thing you could put in your back pocket.
It's really hard to even go to the bathroom there.
But in my mind, in the movies, you get like a little room, have a little quickie, and then you leave. But I guess it had to be, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. And my phone probably hears me now. So all my TikToks are going to be about conjugal visits. Thank you, Latin king. Queen Diamond. I would like to I kind of feel like I need that street cred too. So people in Bexley they're not messing with you. They're like, that's the house of Queen Diamond. She can sit in the ice for 200 years and just don't fuck with her.
Wackadoo.
So what are you guys thinking when you guys fantasize, like, what are we going to do when we get out? So do you have any plans of like trips, or you just like want to hang out in the kitchen, like the simple things?
Simple things. Like right now, it's the simple things. It's the simple things.
Like grabbing a coffee with him probably sounds like heaven on earth.
And let me say this, like, there's no need to go back to that comfort crisis place of life. We both do better things when we're like uncomfortable. So like, I don't sleep in ever since he's been gone. And I look forward to maybe we'll start with one day a month where I don't set an alarm and I sleep in. And we'll see where we can go from there. But I don't need to go from this to like, back to, no, I feel better every day when I go to bed at night that I've slayed in making the universe a better place, making every part of the universe I touch better today in the way that only I can. And that's awesome. Let's keep doing that.
Amen, Queen.
Yeah.
Amen, Queen. Give me more. Rise up, people.
Right?
What time do you wake up?
My alarm goes off at 4. I'm usually up before it.
Seriously? What time do you go to bed?
Early. I try to be asleep by 8. This all is dictated because I get up so early, because my husband's in prison, and because life's hard, and because I need to like decide today, am I going to curl up in a ball and lay down and die and let this win, or am I going to go out there and make a difference? And it's an effort, and it's a plan, and it's something that I do every day. And right now the hurdle is my husband's in prison, but there's always going to be a hurdle. And I hope I can keep going as strong when the hurdle isn't that big.
Has he gotten any tattoos in there?
He hasn't. I think it's illegal to get, or you get in trouble.
Oh.
I mean, he's doing everything he can to not get in trouble.
I hope that he leaves there with a Rolodex of badasses he can call on when he needs somebody, all right? Or when I need someone.
When you need someone.
I need to get on Matt's good side.
Yeah.
He's got some inside scoops. All right, Kate. Is there anything else you can think of in that inspirational, like rocket ship brain of yours? I don't want to leave the people, I want to make sure we get it all out.
So I'm not a doctor or psychologist or psychiatrist, and I'm just know what I've known because of what I've lived through. And maybe I'm real late to the game at 53 years old, but it's in the past year really made an impression on me that our purpose here on this earth is to be unapologetically us, who we are, our zone of genius. And that's why we're sent here, and we need to get over our fucking selves with all the excuses and all the braggadociousness and all of the fear of being judged, and let it all go and just be you unapologetically. Your zone of genius is why you're here, and there's a whole world of people that are here to hear what you have to say. I mean, there's a whole world of Keri Croft listeners that are here, and they can only get these messages from you and the way that you draw it out of people and the way that you say it. So we all have that in us some way, and it's finding it, and it's letting that freak flag fly.
Yes, queen.
I talk about it like a glass of water. The water is our zone of genius. Women weren't always taught to have boundaries. Maybe even women our age weren't encouraged to have boundaries, maybe even not allowed to have boundaries. Our zone of genius needs to be protected by our boundaries. People think of boundaries as very punitive, like fortress, barbed wire. They don't have to be. It can be the glass that holds the water. When you have your zone of genius protected by your boundaries, you can set it on the ground. It shines in the sun. People who need it can get to it, and you can share it one drop at a time. If you take that zone of genius and put it in the ground, it turns to mud. It's not doing you any favors, and the people who need you can't find you. So learning to draw your boundaries around your zone of genius is your purpose, because we need to hear your story, whatever your story is.
Damn straight, Kate.
Right?
I love that. Well, this has just been thrilling for me. On so many different levels. Why do we wait this long? I need to get this edited and out to the people. They need to hear it. And with that, if you're still out there following your girl, follow me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, go visit the Bexley Massage Garage. You can find her on Instagram or at mgkate.com. I promise you will not have an experience like this anywhere in Columbus. I would even say outside of Columbus. It's definitely a diamond in the rough, as you are as well.
Queen.
All right. And keep... Queen Kate, and keep moving, baby. And don't fuck with Kate. Oh my God, that was great.